Hello, friends. We are back with Season 11 of the Homeschool Conversations with Humility and Doxology podcast. And as always, I love to kick off a new season with an Ask Me Anything listener Q&A. It's a little bit funky, a little bit fun. Welcome to Homeschool Conversations with Humility and Doxology, a series of interviews with real-life homeschool moms, dads, and other educators on all sorts of topics that affect our lives as homeschool parents. I'm Amy Sloan, a second-generation homeschool mom of 5, and I am so delighted that you are here. Here on Homeschool Conversations, we'll discuss educational philosophy, family life, and more. Come chat with us. I'm joined today with my oldest daughter, Emma.
Hello. Excited to be back.
Yeah, now Emma has been on for several, not all, but several of the listener Q&A episodes. She and I also recorded a really fun video and podcast episode together earlier actually last year. It was in 2024. So we finished our year of Shakespeare. So if you want to hear more from Emma, you should definitely check this out.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so you guys have been with me through audio irregularities, through randomly lengthed podcast seasons, but it's been 5 years, which is kind of crazy to me. I started this podcast 5 years ago, originally just as a video interview series and became a podcast. We have over 200 episodes, 10 seasons, and we are heading into season 11. I already have so many episodes recorded for this year. I'm super excited, actually.
There are several that I'm very excited about too.
I know, but I can't spoil
They're
it.
secret. They're secret.
Keep
They're
it
great.
secret. Keep it safe.
Yes.
So what you can do to help bring this homeschool encouragement to more people, help it not get lost in the internet, is to please take a moment while you're listening, subscribe wherever you're listening, leave a rating or review, please, kind ones only, 5 stars. I love those. And tell a friend. And I would love it if you could even screenshot it and share to your social media, tag me. I would love to thank you and give you a shout out. I also do want to make sure to let you guys know that I have a lot of free resources on the blog that I think sometimes I forget to tell people about. I don't know. Maybe.
Be bold, Mom. Tell them. Tell the world.
So there is a free year of memory work. This is, as the name says, an entire year of memory work. And so there's videos and printables, beautiful memory work to enjoy as a family. I also have a subscribers freebies page for my email subscribers. It has free morning time plans, printables, all sorts of things over there. So definitely check the link in the show notes to learn more about that. Get on my email list so you don't miss all that fun. And if you're on my email list, bonus, gold stars, every Monday, you get a poem.
It's like even more, it's like a year of memory work, but just like all the time.
All the time. Basically, you will never run out of beautiful memory work or poetry if you hang out with me.
So many poems. It's awesome.
Okay, so quick little family behind the scenes update. Shall we do that?
Let's do it.
All right, so 2024, the fall. We actually had Isaac's last hospitalization. I was thinking about this. We went all the school year or the fall semester without another hospitalization. For those of you who don't know, my youngest son Isaac was diagnosed with leukemia September of 2023. And so it's been a really difficult past year and a half for our family. But his last hospitalization was at the beginning of August. He began maintenance, that phase of treatment this fall. We are still looking for another year of treatment, but I'm really thankful it's been a little bit more normal.
Yeah.
Ish. I mean, as normal as our family gets. Emma, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you worked on this fall as a senior in high school?
Wow. Well, I completed my college applications and have been accepted to half of the schools that I've applied to. I haven't heard back from some of them, but of the schools that I've heard back from, I've been accepted and gotten a little bit of scholarships, which has been very exciting. So
it is exciting. I was just been really proud of you and your diligence and your planning for those. And we will be hearing from the other schools in the months ahead. So
I'm glad to be done with the application part. That was not the most exciting thing in the world.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I've actually been sharing a little bit more about our high school plans and transcripts and things like that in Made to Homeschool. I haven't put a lot of that out publicly on the internet, but if you're a part of my online homeschool community, I've taught a few workshops. I have shared a transcript calculator, like a GPA calculator, in there as well. So definitely let me know if you'd like more information about that or to kind of hear a little bit more about homeschooling high school. My other daughter, Sophia, started her first year of high school this year. She took on several outside classes. That's been really fun. She has loved that. And my youngest daughter, Grace, is now taller than both me and Emma.
So I'm officially the shortest sister, but not the shortest girl. Sorry, Mom.
That's right. That's right. I am the shortest girl in the family, but let's be clear, at 5'7", I am not short. Okay.
No, Mom, she needs you to know she is tall. Just because she takes all these pictures next to really tall people, she's not short.
That's what happens when you marry a man who's, 6'6". But yeah, so Grace is now taller than me and Emma both, and I think she is going to be the tallest female in the family.
Yeah. It seems that she's heading that way.
But she keeps chasing down Sophia, but Sophia, as a good middle child, continues to grow and outpace her younger sister, just staying a little bit ahead. My oldest son, Joshua, worked an internship and lived out of state this summer, so that was a really big transition for our family, but really great for him. And he completed another college semester this fall. And I guess also in big family news, John and I celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary.
Woo!
And I turned 40. I don't know.
That's also very exciting.
Sure.
Yay!
As we look towards 2025, we have some big transitions coming up in a family. My son is moving out, going to be sharing a house with some friends. Emma will be graduating and moving on to adventures. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Sophia will be starting driver's ed, which is crazy to me. And this spring, Grace will turn 13 and Isaac will turn 10, which means by the time birthday season ends in 2025, I will have a 10-year-old, a 13-year-old, 15, 18, that's you, and a 20-year-old.
Wow.
You guys, I am not a young mom anymore. That is crazy to me. All double digits. And like a 20-year-old.
Man,
I'm like
you've breached a new decade.
I have. I'm a real grown-up now.
Oh, yeah.
And here at Homeschool Conversations with Humility and Doxology, I have already recorded 9 interviews, have a few more scheduled. Those will be coming out bi-weekly-ish this spring. And topics that we're covering so far already range from like math to occupational therapy, homeschooling in crisis, cultural ideas, and so much more. So I know that you're going to love it and not want to miss a single episode. I also am doing my 3rd annual Wonder Homeschooling Challenge. This year, it is bigger than ever. I have over 30 collaborators who are contributing with over $700 worth of free resources for your homeschool.
That's a lot of free stuff.
And, okay, wait, are you ready?
I don't know if I'm ready.
Over $1,500 worth of giveaways.
What?
I know. It's very exciting. So I'm definitely going to put that link in the show notes. That will begin January 20th and run that week. So you do not want to miss out. It is a limited time, but it is absolutely incredible. Like,
well, pick me up in the winter blahs.
That's right.
Get through the spring semester.
That's right. Bring a little joy. Kick off the year strong.
With wonder.
Yes. Another fun thing that I am doing this year, kind of bringing a little joy to the winter months, is the Refresh one-day conference. I'm putting that on with Made to Homeschool. I am doing a talk all about finding our identity in Christ and not in our homeschooling achievements.
That's good.
That's like one of my big things, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to always point you guys back to the gospel. Yeah. And this is going to be really exciting. There's going to be live interactions and games and community. It's not like the other homeschool conferences that you may have thought, well, that's basically a YouTube playlist. This is not what we put on as Made Homeschool, and you're going to want to come.
Pretty snazzy.
It is. And I think it'll be really encouraging to refresh us, in February.
Almost like that's the name.
That's the name.
Wow.
Yeah, so speaking of Made to Homeschool, I also am giving 3 live workshops here in January and March and May, I believe. So if you want to come hang out with me live, there's always live Q&A afterwards. I would love to see you inside there. Okay, but that's all. That's all like
Updates
the background.
Past.
Yeah,
we
that's
have
over.
our regularly scheduled content.
Yes.
The questions. The
The-
juicy questions.
The questions.
There's some pretty exciting ones. All right.
Okay.
So the first question is from Amy, although it's not spelled like your Amy. It has 2 E's and an I. So she says, I'm guessing you tailor each child's homeschool to some degree because that's the beauty of homeschooling. But what are the things that you feel strongly that all your children must do, read, or experience before they leave your homeschool? Whether in the little years, high school, academic, non-academic, anything. I'd be so curious to know.
Well, Amy, spelled with an E. You are right. That is the joy of homeschooling. I'm already seeing just how unique and different each of my children has been, the things they've wanted to focus on, especially in some of those more extracurriculars or elective type learning opportunities. And so that's really fun. I love seeing the unique people that God has created and as they're growing in my home. But I think there are a few things that I do try to really emphasize in our homeschool. There are a few books that I've had so far, both of my homeschool graduates or graduates to be read, and a few other topics that we have covered. But you know, we'll have to check back in on this question when Isaac graduates and see if I've made any changes. I think one thing that's really important in our family is regular Bible reading, independent Bible reading for our children. Once they start being able to read on their own with their eyes, we encourage them to do that. But even before they're independent readers, we help them get in a habit of listening to an audio Bible just to try to encourage them to have that regular time in God's Word on their own, in addition to our family devotions. We also include a good bit of catechism and scripture memory, and just really wanting to give our children at age-appropriate levels, but especially by the time they leave home, a really basic foundation and clear understanding of theology and why we believe what we believe. I also want to give them a good introduction to both historic and contemporary ideas about government and economics. I have a free government and economics curriculum plan that you can access on my website to learn more about that. I have loved teaching logic class. I'm actually teaching for the 4th time to Grace this year, but some informal logic at the very least is really important to train our minds in wisdom and discernment, and to remind my children that truth and Jesus Christ as the Logos are the foundation for reasoning. There are a few books, like I mentioned. I would say, I don't know, at this point, all of my children have read the Chronicles of Narnia in its entirety, and I can't really imagine leaving childhood without that experience. So if you have not yet read Chronicles of Narnia,
Now's your chance.
Now's your chance. This 2025 is your year.
You have so much to look forward to.
You do. Actually, 4 of my 5 children have already read Lord of the Rings in its entirety, except for my 14-year-old. But I have informed her. She's not really excited to read it, but I told her that she doesn't get to graduate from my homeschool.
Well, I'll have you know that she showed me her bingo card for 2025, and the Lord of the Rings is on her bingo card.
I'm so proud.
This is the year.
This is her year.
You too. If you have not read the Lord of the Rings, this is your year as well.
Yes, and the audiobook totally counts.
Yes,
totally counts.
exactly.
But the movies don't.
No, the movies don't count as reading it.
No.
But the audiobook does count as reading
it does. Okay. Another book that I've had my teens read is Christianity and Liberalism by J. Gresham Machen. Or wait, I just learned it's J. Gresham Machen, even though it's spelled with an SH. Okay.
J. Gresham
Machen. Mm-hmm. And then this book was one that was hugely impactful in my own life as a teenager. It's The Shape of Sola Scriptura by Keith Matheson. So I've had my teens read that one as well. Amusing Ourselves to Death by Neil Postman, The Universe Next Door by James Sire, and to varying levels, Shakespeare. Shakespeare really is important. I don't think that I will require anyone except for Emma to have read all of the plays. I didn't really require that of you either.
That was just for funsies.
That was just for fun. But yes, I think being familiar with Shakespeare is an important part of my homeschool flavor. A little bit of budgeting and financial planning, learning how to work, and then working hard and desiring to work. It has been important to me to have my kids take a few classes from someone who's not me outside the home. I think that just helps you learn different styles of teachers, learning how to manage your time. It gives them an opportunity to meet some deadlines that are not, you can't convince your mother to change your deadline.
It's a good life skill.
It's a good life skill. Opportunity to serve, too, at home, church, and the community, wanting my children to love other people, to look for the lonely. So I just think that, lots of good books, lots of family time, and lots of loving other people. Do you agree?
Those are, I feel like the central tenets.
Okay, central tenets of our homeschool.
There you go.
All right, what's my next question?
All right, this, I believe, is a follow-up question from Amy. She, I think, based on how it's formatted. What are some of your favorite chapter book read-alouds to do with young kids who are just getting used to sitting for longer stories?
Okay, so I have a list of some of our favorite family read-alouds, and I will put that in the show notes. But one thing I think is good to think about when you're transitioning to longer read-alouds is to look for books that have shorter chapters. So it doesn't matter as much if the book is long or short as it does how long the chapters are, because that can just help with the momentum to make sure, obviously, the stories are engaging, and that will really depend on individual children, what kinds of things they're interested in. And also, don't expect perfect stillness or quietness from your listeners. Like, let them play with their Legos or their blocks or color, or, you might have some children who naturally just want to snuggle up on your lap while you read aloud. And that is wonderful. But a lot of children will be listening while they're moving around. So kind of just prepare yourself for a little bit of motion and sound, and the experience will be better all around. But a few of the books that have really worked well for first read alouds, and these double also because they're also enjoyable for a wide range of ages. So your younger listeners will enjoy them, but so will your older kids. I mean, Chronicles of Narnia, I'll bring that up again. Again, if you have not yet read Chronicles of Narnia,
now is the time.
This is your sign to read it in 2025. The McBroom stories by Sid Fleischman, those are
They're so funny.
If you were having a bad day, like if it's just a rough day and there's been a lot of tears over the math, or nobody really wants to do school, bring out a McBroom story. Everyone will laugh. It'll just really bring some joy to your day.
Yeah. And those are good because, well, there is like kind of like a through plot over all the stories. Each chapter really is like a self-contained story. So there's not really this sense of like, oh no, we have to know what happens.
Exactly. Yeah, that's perfect. Charlotte's Web and Trumpet of the Swan by E.B. White are both excellent read-alouds. Mr. Popper's Penguins is a fun one. And then Kate DiCamillo, both her Tale of Despero and also The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane are really fantastic. If you just are going to read one, I'd say Edward Tulane. Yes, Emma agrees. So those are some of, are there any that you're like, Mom, you missed this one?
I know that when I think about like the books that we read aloud when I was young, that like really made a deep impression, Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. I think about that book on a regular basis. After we read it aloud for the first time, I then like went and read it on my own repeatedly like 3 times in a row. So it has been like, I don't know, a couple years since I've read it, but I just have a deeply ingrained memory of reading that book aloud as a family. So
and we read that like maybe over a decade ago. So
yeah, because that was at our old house.
You would have been a young child.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
That's another good one.
Maybe not as like intellectual as the ones that you listed, but
oh no,
it's a good one.
It's asking the question of what it means to be human. Exactly. I mean, technically, it's what it means to be a rat, but it's
about humanity.
It's about what it means to be a good man.
So true. Okay. New asker. So Lauren asks, what are some ways you spend quality time with your kids, specifically as they are getting older? Many times I try to sit down for some time with one of my tweens/teens and someone else wants to join the fun. Do you have any tips or habits that help you spend quality one-on-one time with your kids?
This is relatable for sure. I mean, with 5 children and, different schedules and personalities, this can definitely be a struggle. But I will say that one thing that has been helpful is to just find something that's unique for each child. So there have been children that I have had a special show that we've watched together. So that's been really fun. You know, screen time can get a bad rap, but watching something with your teen or tween that's like your special show is really fun. It gives you something to talk about that's not too serious. And you don't even both have to like it. Like, I mean, as long as, well, your teen or tween has to like it. You don't have to like it. This happened to me this year with Emma. I will just leave it at that.
To be fair, I hadn't watched it before, so I didn't know.
But we had a lot of fun being dramatic about it together. So, and the whole point was to spend time together. Yeah. So it was still good.
It was a bonding experience.
It was a bonding experience. Yeah. And with the screen time too, like if you have younger kids, go ahead and let that be like, they can go watch something on their own while you have time with an older teen. Like if it's that younger kid who always doesn't want to miss out on the fun, you know, go ahead and don't, like, guilt-free screen time for sure, because the goal here is relationship time. Also being able to take one child with you on an errand. I've actually started doing that a little bit more this year. I used to really prioritize like errand time being my time alone. Now that all my kids are older, it's different. I feel differently about errand time than I did when they were all little and all like holding on to me all the time. And I was like, please let me just go to the grocery store by myself. Now I'm like, I can be by myself a lot, actually, if I really want to. So I love being able to take a child with me on an errand and just have that unique one-on-one time. You can also have a special book that you read. My husband actually does this with the kids, where he'll have like a book that he's just reading with that one kid. And so he has like 3 or 4 books going on right now, I think. I did this with my oldest son when he was 12. We would get up actually at like 6 a.m. I was like, what do you want to read together? And he said he wanted to read Thucydides. And I was like, that's really nerdy, but I am here for it.
That doesn't tell you everything you need to know about Joshua. I don't know what else you need to know.
Yeah, but it was worth it. Like, we made a point once a week to get up really early and have that time together. Going for walks. I mean, sometimes it's just as simple as that. Texting and Google chatting can be a low-key way to nurture individual relationships with teens. You know, a lot of memes and GIFs go back and forth in our family.
And Mom is really good at memes. And so sometimes I will like, her memes will be so good that I'll then pass them on to some of my friends. And they're like, wow, Emma, you have such good memes. And I'm like, no, I don't. I just have a mom who's really good at memes. And then you get bonus points for being the cool mom.
There you go.
So there you go.
And I would just say too, like if you're having a thorny period in your relationship, make sure that you set up some just for fun visits where I like have a few distinct memories of times where I wanted to spend time with a child and it had felt like we had kind of gotten in this habit of like it was always a conflict. And so I pre-handled and I said, look, I'm making a commitment to you right now. I'm not going to ask questions about, you know, these topics. I am not going to like bring up anything. You can bring up anything you want if you want to talk about it, but I just love you and I want to spend time with you. And we ended up going on a walk and I got a blow-by-blow explanation of a particular TV series, which, you know, was just really great because that was what we needed, is we just needed conflict-free zone. And so sometimes just like let your teen know, look, you can come on this walk or we can spend time together and you don't have to be scared that mom's going to use it as a like parenting lesson moment. Mm. Sometimes those are needed, but sometimes you just need to be together. It's also okay if you don't have one-on-one time with each kid like every day or maybe even every week. You know, just think about the big picture over the course of a week or a couple weeks. Make sure you're spending time with each child, but you know, you're not going to necessarily have these like great big glorious, you know, 2-hour stretches with an individual child like every day. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you're not investing in your relationship. Yeah. And then you do have to put boundaries. Like when you have the other kids that want to come, they need to know their time is going to, you know, they will have time with mom another time, but it is actually okay to tell them they can't be there right then. You're going to spend time with, you know, sibling A, and sibling B will just have to wait. And that's okay.
Yeah. Well, also, I was thinking, a lot of quality bonding time has happened like during commutes yes. to like classes and things where, I mean, that wouldn't really work if you had really young children who couldn't stay home by themselves. But like for us now, like if mom is driving one person to a class, then that's like, half an hour each way of just bonding time.
And they're stuck because they're like seatbelted in. They can't escape. But also you aren't like staring at them. So you can have awkward conversations.
Yeah. And if you can, if it is awkward, just put on some music. And then you're just like in the same space, breathing the same air, bonding.
And sometimes that's all you need. Like it depends. You might have the introvert child who just wants to be with you, but doesn't necessarily want to feel like they have to talk to you. And then you might have the child like Emma, who would just like to talk to you all the time about all the things. And
there's just a lot to say, okay?
So it doesn't have to look the same with child to child. It doesn't have to be the same, I guess. Hopefully that made sense. Okay. Oh, here in the middle, I'm going to take a little pause before we move to our fun game at the end. And I'm going to put in the audio actually from my newest YouTube video. So if you didn't know, Humility and Doxology is on YouTube. I would love for you to subscribe. Go check out some of the videos. But this is actually one I did as a collab with my friend Wendy from Plan, Prep, Pray and some other amazing homeschool moms. And we were chatting all about goals for 2025. There were some really excellent videos. I'm going to put in the audio from my video here at this point in the podcast, and then I'm going to put the link to the whole playlist in the description. I want to give you 3 suggestions for bringing a little gentleness, joy, and peace to your New Year's goals. My name is Amy Sloan. I'm a second-generation homeschooling mom of 5 from 9 to 19. I write at humilityanddoxology.com, and I'm the host of the Homeschool Conversations with Humility and Doxology podcast, which is going to be coming back to you this January for its 11th season. And over the past many years of parenting and homeschooling, I've realized that a lot of times we come into a new year with what Kendra Adachi from The Lazy Genius calls big black trash bag energy. You know how it is. You're frustrated. It's that idea of you like walk into your kid's room and there's stuff everywhere and you're like, fine, I'm just going to throw it all away. And sometimes we come into the new year with the same just angst and frustration. What we've tried before hasn't been working. So we think, all right, we're going to throw it all away. It's a new year. We're going to write out 3 pages worth of to-do lists and set huge, big goals for ourselves. Work harder this year, not let ourselves down. It's going to be great, right? And very quickly, by February, if not before, we fall short again. And that can be a really discouraging place to be. And so instead of coming in with too many goals, with harsh attitudes towards ourselves and those around us, I want to encourage us to try these 3 things instead. First, start bigger. Now, wait a minute, Amy, you may be thinking, like, I thought you just said not to go crazy. And what I mean by bigger is big ideas. What kind of person do you want to be this year? What kind of family do you want to be? This is a question I encourage people to ask before they start planning their homeschool or buying new curriculum in my free homeschool planning guide. But I think it's really good for any time of year and for any individual. Instead of coming up with a list of things you want to do, why don't you come up with some ideas about who you want to be? Some things I'm thinking about this year are hospitable. My youngest son was diagnosed with leukemia in the fall of 2023. And so for a year, we really weren't able to be hospitable in the same way that we had been in the past. And so hospitality is an idea that's important to our family and something we want to characterize us again this year. Another thing that kind of fell by the wayside during the course of helping my son through his cancer treatment was caring for my own physical health. And so I want to be a healthy, strong mom, a healthy, strong wife and woman. And so those are some ideas that I want to carry with me into the year. And you may have your own set of ideas or characteristics that you want to really be reflected personally or in your family this year. but I encourage you to start there before you start making a list of things you want to do. Okay, so we're starting big with some big ideas. The second thing I want us to do is to think small. Now, this is kind of paradoxical. I just said think big, and now I'm saying to think small. But remember, we started with these big ideas like hospitality, healthy and strong. And it would be really easy to take those big ideas and create some big goals, some big lists from those things, some big to-dos. And instead, I want us to think about small steps that we can actually accomplish, that we can feel successful with, that are measurable, that are things actually in our control. If I've learned one thing over the past year and a half, it's that nothing really is in our control. So much happens unexpectedly or suddenly. And so being able to pivot in that and not feel like a failure or you've let down, you haven't achieved your goals in the midst of those changes is so important. And one way we can do that is by setting small, achievable, measurable goals. So I'm not going to come into the new year with my idea about health and strength and give myself a certain weight to lose or size to be, or even, barbell weight to be able to do a certain number of reps. Instead, I'm going to set a certain intention for moving my body regularly each day, and then say, okay, we're going to do that for the first quarter, and then I'll reevaluate and kind of stack a new habit on to that at the end of that quarter. A goal that we have begun to implement in our family is to include a cruciferous vegetable in our meal plan every day. And this is something that I can actually do. Like, I can make that as part of my grocery list and plan. It's something simple, small, that actually is in my control, whereas sometimes, the pant size is not so much. For hospitality, we've made the plan to have folks over one time a month, and I decided to cook the exact same thing every time. Again, keeping it as simple as possible, eliminating as many decision moments as possible really makes it more easy to actually attain the goal that we have set. So start big with the big idea, and then think small. Very small steps that can help you achieve those bigger ideas. And the third thing to keep in mind as you set your own goals and intentions for the new year is to remember that faithful consistency is more important than doing something perfectly. This is true when it comes to our homeschool. It's true when it comes to our family life, but it's also true when it comes to our personal goals, our personal life. Maybe this is not a season where you're going to be doing an intense Bible study and spending hours inductively studying, getting out your Greek lexicon and comparing verses to verses. Okay, maybe that's not the time for this, but don't despise the day of small things. The day that you read and contemplated that one verse while you were nursing the baby and talking to the toddler. That one chapter that you read as a family every night for family devotions. Those things add up over time. They may not seem flashy. They may not make for very impressive Instagram reels, but it's those simple, faithful moments that really make up the course of our life. And so whether you're starting a goal, here in January, or you just pick up a goal on a random Thursday in March, I encourage you to remember that it is those small moments that are going to really make the big difference. For more New Year's goals and resolutions discussions, definitely check out the playlist below. My friend Wendy from Plan Prep Pray has put together a whole list of videos on this topic for you. And I think the different perspectives you hear and the way we approach goal setting and the new year, I think will be very encouraging. There's not just one right way to do this, but sometimes we can learn a lot from others who think about these things a little differently than we do and can inspire us to make some of those changes, big and small, in our own lives. would also encourage you to check out the podcast episode that my friend Pam Barnhill and Dawn Garrett recorded together recently, all about how they choose a word for the year. How that's something I've never done, but I was really encouraged by their conversation and the way they don't just set it as some, esoteric idea, but it really comes down into the way they live their life through the year. So I think that will be an encouragement to you as well. I will put that link below in the show notes. And I will be coming back here very soon to kick off season 11 of the podcast. I would love for you to check out that playlist here on YouTube or in your favorite podcast app. Make sure you are subscribed to the Humility and Doxology channel so you don't miss any of the homeschool encouragement coming your way this year. We keep it very real around here. It is not fancy, but it's always encouraging, and that is my goal, ultimately, to help us to remember that true rest is found in the gospel of Jesus Christ. Until next time, Happy New Year and happy homeschooling. Okay, so we are back and we're moving on to the game.
This is so exciting. So we are doing Would You Rather. Now, I feel pretty confident that I know what Mom is going to say for all of these, but if this was a video, then we could do it like really cool and like edit it and with like I say my guess and then Mom says what she is and it's like a whole newlywed game situation, but we won't do that to you today. I'm just going to ask you these questions.
Okay,
right.
wait. But first, I need to give a shout out to my friends, Katie and Debbie, who helped me come up with these
Shout out
questions.
to them.
Yes.
You're awesome. Okay, are you ready?
I am so ready.
Okay, would you rather chase a toddler around while homeschooling or deal with a stinky teen attitude?
Toddlers all the way. Okay, I love my teens. Would I rather have? I love teens. Let me just full stop. I love teens. To be clear,
We love teens.
I love teenagers. They're fantastic. I love my older children. I actually love seeing them becoming their adult selves. It's awesome. But specifically the way this question is phrased. Okay, if we're talking about 2 short-term tantrums, you can deal with a toddler tantrum by literally picking them up and putting them under your arm and go carry them to a different room. When your teenager is having a tantrum, you cannot do that. So
That's so true. But I mean, it does say stinky teen attitude. So are we being led to believe that the toddler has a stinky diaper while they're running around?
Toddlers
screaming?
always have stinky diapers.
But you would rather deal with that.
I mean, I just feel
No, yeah.
diapers are easier to clean up than messy relationships.
Just so true. The long-term consequences are basically zero. Okay. Would you rather science experiments or hands-on history activities?
Neither. Okay, so actually, I am much more likely to do hands-on things now that my children are older. So even though my younger children are still relatively young, there's just less permanent states of chaos all the time. And so I have more bandwidth. When all of my children were young, I was no hands-on anything, please. But now my kids are really good. They can set things up themselves. They can read the directions themselves. Right. They can clean up after themselves. Yeah.
It's not really a you rather,
It's
so
more
would
my kids like to do those things? Please, that sounds great. And actually Isaac in particular really loves both of those things and has done a lot of them over the past year.
He's a big fan.
I think I like open and go hands-on, whether it's science or history. So I don't know. I think I kind of cheated on answering that question, but that's my answer.
The answer is no. Okay. Now, this one. If you have known my mother for more than 5 seconds, I think you too will know the answer to this one. But, Mom, would you rather crafts or read alouds?
Read alouds. Oh my goodness. Please don't make me do crafts.
If you didn't gather from the last question.
I don't mind other people doing crafts. I love other people doing crafts. And in fact, all of my children do all these amazing things, which is great. That's wonderful. I am a facilitator, not an actually doing it kind of craft person.
But read alouds.
Read alouds, I am here for that.
All day.
All day.
Except not actually all day because your throat would hurt.
I would need extra lozenges.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, some honey in your tea. Okay. Would you rather plan the lesson or teach the lesson?
Teach the lesson. Yes. I don't really want to have to like plan something in great detail, that's boring to me. Like I just want to, let's just do it. Like, let's just go learn this. Yeah. Let's learn this together. I would prefer even just like learning it with my kid or reading a book and just talking about it. Like, you don't have to plan that. You just like read something and talk about it. Yeah.
There you go.
Do the lesson.
Spontaneous. I love it. Okay. Would you rather read out loud for an hour or do a quick but messy science experiment? As we may have already established.
I think, as we've already established, I do not like mess and I do not like having to clean up after experiments. So if I am the one who is having to set up and clean up the science experiment, then I would definitely pick the read aloud. But if my kids are up for doing it themselves and I can just go in the other room and read my own book while they do the science experiment, that's what I pick. Right, I pick third option.
Okay. I love how this would you rather has turned into a whole just like, actually, I just want to talk about my own thing. No, I love it. Okay. But you're like, I would rather spend an hour just reading a book that can be then closed than spending 5 minutes doing an experiment that then it has to spend an hour cleaning up.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Last one. This one I think is very interesting. So would you rather have a personal chef or a house cleaning service? Hopefully no houses are being cleaved. House cleaning service so that you could do more fun stuff with your kids. Personal chef or house cleaning?
Oh, house cleaning. For sure. Well, I kind of actually have a personal chef because Emma makes all of our bread. And just periodically I'll be like, hey, Mom, can I like try this experiment in the kitchen? I'm like, sure, that's great. So I'm going to really miss that when she goes to college. But yeah, no, I think in all seriousness, even if Emma weren't amazing, I would still pick the house cleaner every day. That is my least favorite thing.
Cooking is fun. Cleaning is not fun.
Cooking is like art.
Exactly.
And it's just an experiment and it's creativity, but cleaning just feels like fighting an unwinnable battle against entropy.
Yeah. So with all these questions about like, science experiments, hands-on activities, your answer is if it's food, if you're making dinner, then I'll take that. But if it's like non-edible, no. That's what we learned today.
And if there's glitter, just say no.
No. Just say no to glitter. All right. Well, that is the last one.
I think I should have come up with some would you rathers for you.
Oh man. Put you on the spot.
Oh, wait. Okay, wait. I'm just going to like come up with a would you rather really quickly. Okay.
I believe in you, Mom.
Would you rather have to drink the same flavor of tea every day for a year or be able to try different flavors of tea but only get to drink them twice a week?
That is a very tough question, but as someone who generally drinks, shall we say more than 2 cups of tea every day, I'd have to take, like, I feel like I could definitely drink just like Earl Grey every day of the year. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I don't know if I could handle just drinking 2 cups of tea a week. That's a lot. Well, maybe in the summer.
Okay.
Maybe in the summer, but like in the winter,
you need your tea.
I need,
Okay, Emma.
Hydration.
Which would you rather live without? Live without Post-it notes or spreadsheets?
Ooh. I would rather live without Post-it notes because I'm currently more in a like 9x5 or not 9x5, the 3x5 card, the little like because I don't know, I like writing my to-do lists on that, but I don't know if I could handle being without spreadsheets. That would be a lot. A real trial.
That would be a real trial. Okay, well next time I'm going to come up with some more, but I think that will
in the next time you start a new season, you send out your little email. It's like, guys, send in your questions. 1, send in lots of questions, guys, but 2, also send in any would you rathers for either of us.
I think this is
we can make it a new tradition.
I think this is a great idea. Yes. Well, guys, thank you for being here for this informal podcast episode kicking off season 11. We will be back next week, Lord willing, with our first interview, our first interview.
I'm not there.
Emma's
Sorry.
not there.
I'm only on these episodes.
My first interview of the year. I think it's not going to be one that you are going to want to miss. So make sure you're subscribed and share this one with a friend, or maybe not this one, maybe one of your other favorites, because they might be like, who are these kooks?
This is like, after they've gone through a few, they can be like, okay, I have something that's a little out there, but maybe you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, okay. if you want to know the lady
true,
behind.
True friend test. Do they like this episode? If they don't like it, then ditch them.
Oh no. We don't ditch people on this podcast. No. Anyway, you can find me all around the internet. I'm Humility and Doxology on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all the places. And I would love to hear from you. Let me know what some of your goals are for 2025, what you are hoping to see grow and change in your homeschool this year. And I look forward to spending more time with you guys here in your earbuds for the rest of the year. So until next time, happy homeschooling.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening in on this week's Homeschool Conversation. For show notes and links to all the resources we discussed, head to humilityanddoxology.com/homeschool-conversations. And if these episodes are an encouragement to you, would you take a moment to leave a rating and review and to share with your friends? I am so thankful that you are here on this adventure with me. Let's repent of our constant striving, relish the joy of learning, and rest in the work of Christ on our behalf. Stand fast, my friends.